at lunch.
You are looking live.
Live at lunch. Live at lunch with Ott and Hanny on 104.5 ESPN, Baton Rouge.
What the hell's going on out here?
Now, here's Jimmy Ott and Charles Hannegriff.
Yeah, for some reason or another, you sound a little taller on radio.
Is it live? Is it live? Is it live?
From the original Walk-Ons, Burbank at Nicholson. Welcome to the Thursday edition of Live at Lunch, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge. Charles Hannegriff, Jimmy Ott, Jordan Kinch is back in the studio. Dwayne Colucci with us today. Matt Humans with us today. Kenny White with us today as we get ready for the weekend. LSU's off, but we got a bunch of good games to talk about. Interesting weekend in the NFL, of course, as well. And the divisional NFC South matchup tonight on Thursday Night Football. Falcons.
Who do we pull for?
I'm going to pull for the Buccaneers because I've got an investment in them because I think they're going to win the game and they're a small underdog.
No, as far as the Saints.
If you're pulling for the Saints, I think the Bucs are the better team, so I'd probably pull for the Falcons. But
yeah, I would agree with that.
I can see it the other way because the Falcons already have a game on you, but I think the Bucs are the better team. This is one of those. I looked at it this morning, and it's one of those don't overthink it kind of games. I think this is not one of these, long layoff or injury or motivation or spot plays. Just, hey, these two teams are playing. It's early in the season. Everybody's as reasonably healthy as they're going to be. And I think the Bucs are the better team.
Tampa Bay's better.
And they're catching a point and a half. So.
But as a big, well, they're on the road. On the road. It's not much of a travel, so that's not too bad. But on the road on Thursday night. But that Vita Vegas. Do you think Philadelphia shied away because he was in the game on that situation? Because that's what Randy brought up. And I had thought about it before, but damn it, you were there. That's what was it at 4-foot line, the 1.5-yard line? It was between 1 and 2 yards on 2nd and goal. I mean, what? Yeah. I mean, who better than these guys?
I think Vay was definitely in their mind right there because he's a dominant presence.
He's got to stop me, though.
No question. Sure. But I'll tell you what else I've noticed about Philadelphia is they're running that play less. I don't know if it's Kelsey's retirement.
It's just the situations haven't arisen. The situations, every game I've watched, they've run it.
They put a stat up there on the 1 yard to go, goal to go, or 1 yard to go for on 4th down, and they've run it a little bit less than they did a year ago. Maybe circumstances, maybe
this wasn't 4th down, Charlie. This was they got to a 4th, but this was 2nd down.
Yeah,
I mean, okay, stop us for a half a yard. We're gonna get the next play. I mean, this is the most. What is more?
This is the most successful play in football the last 3 years.
That's not even close.
Yeah. The reason I remember the stat, they put it up in week 2. I think they had maybe 5 of these situations so far, and they'd run it a little bit less. And they were speculating on the broadcast about, is this because Kelsey's not there anymore? Is this because of something else? I don't know.
Well, you remember one of them specifically. 12 seconds to go in the Superdome. And Sirianni just has thank you. Well, I mean, it was just dumb. It was ridiculous.
And it's not the only dumb call he's made this year.
Yeah, but I mean, just kick the field goal.
Right.
I mean, Hurts has turned the ball over more than any quarterback in the league. If not, he's real close. And then him and Levis probably. And I mean, just kick your field goal. You get your push, you get 1 yard closer, and you risk actually a 4th down, but you run it sideways?
Yeah.
It's so stupid.
I didn't get that. I didn't get that either. So, maybe it was a combination of
I think Sirianni's got a lot on his mind, man. I think he's
about to be out of work.
Well, but the biggest, the most sure thing, there's no 100%, but the most sure thing in the league, and over multiple years, and you just know. I mean, I don't know. I had Tampa Bay. He gives me a chance, and he stopped him. Right. I was just like, man, this guy has lost it. Come on, man.
No, I'm not. I'm not arguing with you. If you're asking me what his thinking is, I can't think of all Sirianni.
This is you go your damn whole lifetime. What's been more of a sure thing in the NFL? I'm talking 50 years, dude. What's been more of a sure thing than that damn tush push?
I'm
Vita
struggling.
Vey, I love you, but you got to stop me.
I'm struggling to think of one.
Is that where he is? Huh? He's just shook up. Huh?
335 pounds worth of mass in there, and Sirianni, yeah, he's going to be out of work. You want a coin flip bet? Him or Doug Peterson first? The first guy to the window in the NFL.
Both are pretty close the last year and a half or so. Peterson, Philly's at least 2-2 this year. They're 0-4, but and then they lost their last five in a row last year to end the season.
They won the one that Lawrence didn't play.
9 in a row.
Yeah, they won the one that Lawrence didn't play. Beathard played and they won. I think it was 5 out of 6 to end last year, and the one they won.
Well,
Lawrence
the Eagles are
didn't play.
2-2. You know what they did the last 9 last year, huh? I mean,
they lost almost all of them. They cratered after the beginning of December.
3-10 their last 13.
Yeah. That game we were watching at Beau Rivage where San Francisco annihilated them. It seemed like they never recovered.
Well,
that
was championship weekend. So that was SEC
first week of December. Yeah.
Yes.
And they were never right after that.
Even the Christmas game where they won, it was shaky. Remember against the Giants?
Very much. Yeah, it was an ugly game. And here, the other reason I like the Bucs, very quietly, I guess, Baker Mayfield is playing outstanding football. He's not just slightly above replacement. Okay, we've got enough of a sample. Mike Lombardi, wait till it's 20 games, right? Okay, let's consider this Baker 3.0 or 4.0 or whatever. 17 games last season. I think he started them all for Tampa, and now 4 this year. Guy's a 4th-rated passer in the league. His passer rating is right there, snuggled up next to Jaden Daniels and Josh Allen. I mean, he's playing at a really high level. We don't think of it because he had so much failure before that. But the new Baker, over the last 20 starts, has been a top 5 quarterback in football. I mean, check the numbers. This is not my opinion.
How's he doing it without Canales?
And he had Canales last year.
How's he doing it? That guy got all the credit.
He's also
but like Geno Smith, like even Charlie, if he was the first overall pick, they were gonna throw him in there before he was ready. I mean,
in Cleveland,
the most telling of the Hard Knocks is here Saban. Okay, what's he going to do? Is he going to drive Miss Terry crazy? Well, no, he's not just showing up on the set and saying, well, we're not coach. No, he's talking about the rosters now. Mm-hmm. He's talking about the matchups now. He's talking about Tennessee's defense now and things like that. And he went up there and just talked to Eberflus, who he coached at Toledo, and said, man, we're just rushing these quarterbacks into it's just the level of expectation, because the media coverage. Media's got to do anything. You got to be strong enough not to be influenced by your fans. Your fans want that high pick to go in there. Man, well, say it best. When the owner, he's impatient. Usually they're up in age. They're impatient. They want to get it done now.
They're billionaires. They get whatever they want whenever they want it.
And isn't it? It's a little bit more than coincidental. The one team that doesn't have an owner, that's owned by the city, has taken their time and nurtured and just kind of spoon-fed almost and really taken it. Even Mahomes, the best in the game. He sat.
He did.
That last game meant nothing. That was an exhibition game. So he started, game 16 at Denver. And that's it. I mean, Alex Smith, one of my best calls ever. Do not expect Patrick Mahomes to duplicate the production of Alex Smith last year. It was pro ball quarterback.
Yeah.
It was unbelievable, and Mahomes just lit him up. But there's something to that. There's just the success rate of the guys that wait a year or two and just kind of percolate, and just kind of observe. When Max Gotro came here, okay, the first show, I think we were over I said, boy, I had 65 of you come here. Just sit and observe, okay? But he worked out well, right?
Yeah.
There's something, just what's the rush? What's the rush? They got enough things thrown at them,
With the rush is job security, usually, for a coach.
There you go, because you usually a losing team. You're on the ropes.
Mm-hmm.
You can't have 2 losing seasons in a row in the NFL.
You learn on somebody else's time.
That's
why I think Gerard Mayo at New England, is doing this right, because I think he's got a little bit more job security than the average rookie coach. Kraft is kind of brought him along, and he believes in him, and he's got a little bit of political capital there, and he sees Jacoby Brissett getting the stew beat out of him, and he's like, I ain't putting my rookie quarterback out there for that.
Mayo, just some little things that they're not good. Okay, he's got a weak roster, but he's a little bit smarter.
Yeah,
he's not a dummy. Okay, I'm kind of watching. He hell of a player at Tennessee.
Yes,
and then with New England.
He was.
Okay,
yeah.
And he's going to be okay, I think. But is he Belichick? Nobody is. But he's okay.
They're way more competitive than I thought they would be.
Are the Falcons going to be smarter than we thought?
Well, dumb as it looked on draft day.
Because Penix is forced to sit.
Penix doesn't have to play, yeah.
Yes, there's no pressure. I will tell you this. Watch Penix and watch Williams. Let's see.
Yeah, no, it's a great.
Let's see.
It's a great comparison.
And that's what makes Daniels, so because Daniels and Stroud, they were able to do it.
They're the outliers. They're talking about this on the Greenberg show. They're the outliers. And
they are the outliers, yes.
One more thing about Tampa.
Who does that show? Greenberg?
Sometimes. Sometimes. Twice a week.
You're high. You're high.
Tampa's also got, Mike Evans gets all of the ink, but Chris Godwin is one of the most underrated receivers in the league. And Rachaad White has been a solid back, but have you noticed what they're getting out of the kid from Oregon, Bucky Irving? He's a rookie. He was a fourth-round pick. You probably remember him at Oregon. He's got almost as many touches as Rachaad White. He's averaging about 6 yards a touch. He's kind of a big play guy. So they've added another weapon for Mayfield there. They're running the football fairly well right now. It's a good team.
Okay. What is his attempts per game? Because if you're keeping him under 30 per game, then that's a good.
It's right at 30.
Okay.
It's almost exactly at 30.
So, when you get up to 45, it just – and part of it is, like, Justin Fields' most productive passing game. They lost. It's their only loss.
Yeah.
They don't want to play like that, but they were forced to. Geno Smith, most productive passing game. Well, they lost. Everybody wants to just be able to run the ball and pick their spots. Sometimes you fall behind. Pittsburgh's defense is so good. Rarely do they fall behind like that. Just the Colts just lean on Jonathan Taylor first. It's kind of a good thing. But but Mayfield. Forget, and this is where I did. All right, Charlie, and you're part of constructing your roster. This is where the Saints, as far as Devontae Adams, do we have to get in salary cap jail any more than what we are?
They spent the whole offseason trying to make strides to fix that.
And want to bury themselves again over a two-time malcontent?
Right.
A declining player?
Man. I went back and looked a little closer at his numbers. I went back. He makes no sense I'd say he makes no sense for the Saints. They would be a better team right this second, but long term, he doesn't make sense for the Saints. I am softening a little bit on does he make any sense for Washington, though, because they can fit him in cap-wise. They don't have to do anything else. And if you send them a middle draft, I wouldn't send them a 2, but I'd offer them a 3 and say, okay, take it or leave it, and the Raiders might take that. And then you can the salaries are non-guaranteed the next 2 years. So if you don't have to redo the contract, you just say, let it sit. And if he's a problem, you just get rid of him. But if he's still a talented guy, he's still a top 20 receiver in the league, and Washington needs weapons.
You're out of your mind.
Really?
Who's got a better locker room than them? Who's on the uprise? Who's exceeding expectations more than them? Who has more legitimate grounds for long-term success than them? And I'm going to bring down a two-time malcontent. He's going to bring you veteran. He wants to be a leader. And in his words, you ain't even on his list.
It's a risk. I give it to you.
It's an unnecessary risk. What, you going to prove their offense? They had punted in 3 games.
You see the guys that they're doing it with on the outside, though? I'm
McLaren?
No, not him. The other, everybody but him.
Oh, well, okay? He's not bad.
No, he's fine. The other guys, I can't even name them all.
All right, McCaffrey, he's going to catch the ball. He's going to be a fine secondary receiver.
I don't know if they can keep that up. Maybe they can. It's a risk.
So
I give it
what?
To you.
Don't bring this. What? This guy, and let me tell you where you're wrong, too. And you always say, well, I'll take him at this. But, Charlie, you can't just conveniently do that. Oh, I'll take him for a third round. Well, that's not what they're asking publicly. They're asking for a second round and additional stuff.
I didn't see 10 teams rush to the door when they asked for it,
Well, of course not. He's a declining player, and he's a two-time malcontent. And he's telling you the two teams he wants to play for are the two quarterbacks he's played for in the past. I mean, it's all on his term. And, oh, by the way, they're 2-2. And, oh, by the way, this just in, but – yes, Antonio Pierce as the assistant coach in the interim. Oh, yeah, he's our buddy. But then when it's a time to actually run the team, oh, no, Antonio's changed. Well, his title has changed, bro. I mean, this guy, he's screaming problem. And name me a better locker room, a better situation, better exceeding expectations than the Washington Commanders.
No, nobody is. I can't argue that.
You gonna compromise that?
It's a risk.
It's like when my kid's self-motivated in class. I don't want to do homework, Charlie. This just in. I'm not doing homework. All right? So when he said when he's self-motivated in school and it's time to pay, where can I write the check? When I don't do motivate. If that's where he's comfortable going. Give me that, okay? No, you don't screw up a good thing.
I'm a little concerned that when they play better defenses that those secondary options will be shut down for Washington.
Oh, fine.
And if you can get this guy for a middle-round pick, he's still a top 20 receiver. He's still a top 20 receiver, Jimmy. He's not what he once was, but he's still a top 20 receiver. I mean, the numbers bear that out. I think he could help them. But the locker room thing is real.
You're basing a top 20 receiver on his past. You think moving forward, the next 2 years, he's going to be a top 20 receiver?
Well, I don't have to guarantee him money the next 2 years. I'm talking about this year. If I can move a second-day pick for him and take a chance, I might
pressure?
do it.
So does the coach have pressure?
No.
Does the GM have pressure? No. The owner? No. Nobody has pressure. We're gonna, and you know what? Little tidbit on this guy. He's young. Okay, he's young. He has a very limited track record. But word is he values draft picks. He gonna give that away? He ain't giving a third away for this guy. It ain't happening.
I wouldn't move a 2. I might move a 3. Might make more sense for Baltimore.
You're freaking out of your mind. You
might make more sense for Baltimore.
You can't. All these locker rooms are nothing but problems, and it's not. I mean, and you got a good thing, and you're going to try and jeopardize it. Why in the hell? You don't value that? You don't value that morale in the locker room right now?
I do.
You don't in the organization. I mean, anything. Say following Curly Hallman, anything's better. Okay, but damn, man. They have flipped the field. They have just leapfrogged the whole league. And there's no man. If they just win the division this year, it's fine. I mean, do you know any Washington Redskins or Commanders fans? They're over the moon.
Sure, they are. It's been 2 decades since they had.
Why are you going to bring this guy in?
Because he's more talented than the other guys.
Man, he ain't worth it. Okay. He's not that talented. He's not that talented.
You might be right.
He's not that talented.
He might be a better fit in Baltimore.
Why are you risking that?
Because the Baltimore locker room is rock solid. He ain't going to go in there and cause any problems.
No.
He does, and they are a Super Bowl contender.
Baltimore's good in every statistical category, minus what? Third down conversion. When Lamar has to pass, I mean, Lamar's Lamar. I mean, they gave him all kinds of receivers. It just, when he has to pass, they have to play in front. They have to play in front of the sticks. 3rd and 2 and 3rd and 3 are fine. 3rd and 6 or more, no, it's not. And that's nothing different.
And he's not going to, he wouldn't upset that locker room.
No. That's a veteran. That's a strong. Steelers, maybe the same way. But
Steelers are trying to get him. They've been trying to get a receiver since the middle of the summer.
Because they're strong enough, too. But
yeah, and they got to.
Guess what? They got a little bit better situation.
A little bit more of a track record.
This guy's stockpiling picks, Charlie. He's ready to bring in more pieces for 4 and 5 years down the road, not 1 year. They're not one piece away from winning the whole thing.
They're not. He would make them better right now.
Don't forget over here at Walk-Ons, got the bye week this week, but next week Ole Miss got live entertainment, bands before, live band after. So going to be a great time over here at 6:30 start for Ole Miss and LSU. It's not this week, but it's next week, of course. We'll catch the Runts in on a third leg of a tough run, catching them off the bye. So, I mean, it was not fun losing the money line parlay, but there was a little bit of consolation. That was a good feeling watching them just. Did the kicker have any chance at kicking it? No. He looked like a kid they brought off the stands to try and win free tuition. He did not. Is that guy on scholarship? He's having a good week.
Sure he is.
In the Grove. Hey, just stick what you do best, all right? Come on. Day at a party, you never lost. Just stick like that. Stay in your place, Runts. Anyway, where's Lane Kiffin going next year?
Florida.
You think?
If they can get their checkbook.
No. Ifs. Of course, there's a lot of ifs. But
I've been
is he
saying,
going or not?
I've been saying Lane Kiffin to Florida since June, so yeah, I'll stick with that prediction.
All right. Well, it seems that way. So come on by and see us. It's game day over here at Walk On. Don't forget, we got all the games on for you all the time. Friday. And look, we got playoff baseball as well. 1 game 3 tonight at 6 o'clock between the Mets and the Brewers, but all 4 quadruple header on Saturday as well. We got the NFL Sunday ticket over here also at the original Walk-Ons just off of campus on Burbank.
Live at Walk-Ons, live at lunch, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Live at lunch with Ott and Hanny from the original Walk-Ons on Burbank on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
We got one baseball game tonight. The Brewers forced game 3 with the Mets. The other 3 series concluded yesterday. The Padres eliminated the Braves. The Royals eliminated the O's. And the Tigers eliminated the Astros in what might be Alex Bregman's last game in Houston. After the game, 2 things happened. Bregman tweeted out, "Thank you, Houston." And Jose Altuve went with what I would call a passion pleading with ownership to bring Bregman back. Bregman's a Scott Boras client, which means he is going to test free agency and see what the market looks like. The floor is about $150 million over 6 years. That's what Matt Chapman signed with the Giants last season. So it's going to be more than that, whether it's in Houston or somewhere else. So I think right now Jimmy could go either way. I think if the Astros get offer him the 2024 equivalent of what they offered Altuve 2 years ago, I think he'll stay. But if they don't get to that, I think he's moving on. And we've seen Boras do this a bunch of times. I wouldn't be surprised if he said, as soon as this game is over, Alex, tweet this out.
Exactly.
We're going to put pressure on the Astros. They're going to pay you.
I was about to ask if Boras put out that tweet for him.
Boras has probably got an assistant that tweets for his clients.
And, he's going to get paid just how much. And, does he give a little bit of a hometown discount? To Houston to stay. Would Houston? That's what it sounds like. That Houston's going to offer him a strong offer, but it might not be as strong. He's one of those. He's a tweener as far as he's an excellent player. Okay, how many times has he been an All-Star?
Twice.
But he does some of the things that are outside of the box score and the non-measurable. Like yesterday, they had a runner at first. It was nobody out, and they bunted. He came down. Boom, no hesitation. He knows who's running. He knows how quickly he got the ball. He threw a perfect throw to second base. Easy, force out. Keep the double play in order. Don't allow them to advance the runner. Just things like that. One of the most memorable was in that last game. It was Game 7 or Game 5 against the Yankees in the ALCS. It's no score. The Yankees got a runner at third with less than 2 outs. It's hit to him. He comes right home, and it's bang, bang. He had to make a perfect throw. He had no hesitation. Not many can make that play. He's a shorts. He could play shortstop, but he's playing third base, because Correa and Pena have come, since they came over. Not saying he can't play shortstop like Pena, but, man, as a third baseman, he can really do. But he doesn't quite have that corner infield power. Yes, in that park he has, but there's so many of his balls, Charlie, because he doesn't overswing. So how many balls did go to the track? And that is a short porch in left field, and I think that will affect his home run total. Getting out of that park if he does. But he's a winner, man. And this is an era of baseball where baseball IQ is a joke. You don't know what you're getting. It seems like the most talented players are the ones that they are afraid to go. And it just fundamentally sound. It just base running and fielding and just kind of knowing the situation is just it's not. He's got it. He's very, 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 very smart player, and he's not just going to sit on it when he gets his money. This guy's driven, always been legendary work ethic. He's getting the most out of his ability, and he's clutch too. The big spot does not bother him, but he's not like that Soto talent. He's not that Machado talent. He's really, really good, but he's not that just super dead ringer, impact player, wherever he goes.
Here's the comps, okay? Matt Chapman signed 6 years, $151 million.
He's
with
better
San
than
Francisco.
Chapman.
He is. I agree. He is about the same age that Anthony Rendon was when Rendon finished with the Nationals and signed with the Angels. So Chapman signed for 6 years, $150. Rendon signed for 7 years, a little over $250.
Rendon did it for like a year or two, though. But Bregman's done it his whole career. And that's why as soon as Rendon got the money, he went south.
He got hurt and he went south. Both. Actually, Rendon's numbers were not that much better than Bregman's. Even the 1 year he had.
I didn't say they were.
Okay, the numbers are actually very comparable
for the entire career.
Up until the age 29 year, yes, they were comparable. Bregman's were actually a little bit better with the counting stats.
Rendon was super clutch in that Nationals World Series.
Yes, 1 year he had the monster. He was third in the MVP voting. But overall, Bregman's been a much more durable player, obviously. But so if
he runs better than Rendon.
You're looking for ceiling floor. Chapman's the floor. Rendon, salary-wise, is the ceiling. And I think if I'm Boris, I'm asking for what Rendon got. My player's better. If you take everything,
he is more proven than Rendon.
Yeah.
He's more
durable.
He's more durable. He's more consistent. He runs the bases a little bit better. Rendon was just it's just in. I mean, Larry Brown got a deal from the Raiders when he caught two interceptions in the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
I mean he was big on that Nationals team. I mean, he was clutch over and over. It was a 1 year spike, and he had the biggest platform where he was super. I mean, it was really good. But Bregman, to me, Charlie, every year has done it. And there's nobody. I'm not going to sit here and tell you when Rendon got signed, he said, he's going to fall off, because I didn't see that. I saw him in the biggest spots, and he was really great, but it was a career year.
In Rendon,
and I've seen Bregman every year. This is the first year they're not going to ALCS in 7 years.
7 years. In Rendon's defense, he got hurt badly the first year he got in Los Angeles, and he's never really recovered from that. I mean, I'm not going to blame him for that, but that to me is where Bregman. That's what Boris is going to ask for.
If Rendon got that money, Bregman should too.
We'll see if he does. I don't think he gets that money from Houston. If he wants,
he's not getting that.
If he's going to stuck on the Rendon contract, then he's going to have to go.
They would have already paid him.
Yeah,
he wouldn't have turned down that Rendon money with inflation. I mean, no, he was. He would have already been signed.
Teams are gun shy, after the Rendon contract to put that kind of money on a third baseman.
And that's unfortunate for Bregman, but I mean, somebody gonna pay him. I mean,
yeah, he's going to get his money somewhere.
You don't think the Royals, the Tigers, and these young teams that can have a veteran guy? I mean, not that
I don't know if those guys are going to loosen the purse strings, but he'd be perfect. I don't know if they'd pay him though.
Yeah. Don't forget our friends over at Relief Windows and ReliefWindows.com. Boy, I sure wish I knew about the gelled wind or last windows at Relief Windows during the original construction of my home. Windows, doors, siding, and shutters at Relief Windows. You can schedule a free quote. We'll come out, evaluate your situation, but they do high-quality stuff, man. Quality windows, doors, siding, interior shutters, even better customer service. Come out to your home, they give you an evaluation, do a computer rendering on site, give you an idea of what it looks like, what you like, what you want to adjust, what you like, what you don't like, and we'll go from there. So they schedule a time to come out and not going to hold you hostage all day by giving you a 5-hour window or something like that. Also, at Relief Windows, we're proud to be the premier provider of installer of windows, door siding, and interior shutters for residential homes and new construction in the entire Gulf South Regional. So we talk about them here in Baton Rouge because that's where their headquarters are, but all of the Louisiana, the Gulf South, including Texas. I guess we expanded into Texas as soon as they were added to the SEC. So, Relief Windows and reliefwindows.com, 230-5652, 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. Monday through Friday.
Live at Walk-Ons, live at lunch, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
It's time. It's now Colucci time. Dwayne Colucci is back to give his best picks on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
All right, let's go out to Colucci time, man. It's right around the corner. Colucci getting the NHL starts, huh? Very soon.
Frigid.
Yeah, it's getting excited, boys. I was waiting for the horn back there. I love the intro, though. That's so cool. I love it. But, yeah, already, if you've been paying attention, you've already seen some of these marquee players that are going down and getting hurt. Drew Doughty went down. Terrible for the Montreal Canadiens. They're my team. We finally dipped into the free agency market, and Patrick Laine's knee almost came off. He was almost detached in a preseason game against Toronto. So a lot of happening.
Hey, man, how about your Mets? I thought they were going to close it out last night, huh?
The Mets, they're not my team. I'm a Dodger guy. Mets, I actually had a nice bet on Milwaukee last night and was biting my fingernails. I can't believe the momentum wave that these Mets are, riding right now, whether it's Grimace, whether it's the OMG, everything is falling into the place for this team.
Grimace.
Until the bottom of the eighth last night, finally Milwaukee got going, and, I thought they were dead in the water, I'll be honest. I wager like you guys do when I see the opportunities. And,
Wait. When you were DJing growing up at Queen, I thought in the late 80s, you were all into the Mets, huh?
No, hell no. I was always a Dodger guy. My dad took me. I've been to more games at Shea Stadium than any other baseball stadium. That's a fact. I did live in Queens, but, every time Fernando, Hershiser, Tim Leary would pitch, I was at Shea Stadium, and the matchups were just incredible, whether it was with Gooden, Ron Darling, Sid Fernandez, so I attended tons and tons of those games, and definitely I have no ill will against the Mets. I'm a Dodger fan. My dad's from Brooklyn, guys. You know that. So the lineage keeps going. It goes from Mike to Dwayne to, if I have a kid, so forth. We'll be Dodger blue, bleeding it throughout. So, great field, great playoffs so far. I can't ask for anything more. The handle, guys, has been incredible on these games. And,
oh, really?
A lot of momentum. Yes. A lot of momentum riding with Kansas City, with Detroit. And, I have to say we haven't been doing that great at the Rampart and South Point with these playoff baseball games thus far. But there's tons of baseball to be played. This won't get settled till November, in my estimation. And a lot of good teams that attract sizable handle here at the Rampart are still alive when you're talking Yankees, Dodgers, San Diego, Mets. All these teams definitely create super handle at my counter.
Yeah, but boy, the Mets manager took a nap in the eighth inning. Yeah, Maton comes in, and he just doesn't have it. He gives up a bomb to start the inning, another laser for a single, a hard hit ball for a 6-4-3 double play, but then another. He just left him in there, and again, the next guy's going to hit a bomb too. A hard hit ball too. It was just hard hit. He had every reason to make a move, and he just refused to. And finally, they get the 2-out, 2-run homer for the Brewers. But where's the action tonight? Have they been betting? They've been betting the dogs in these playoff games, and I guess Padres too.
Yeah, definitely. They're pounding the Padres, and they got the job done. It was definitely a nice series for them. The Dodgers have a lot on their plate now, just because of the pitching, injuries and all that. But the Dodgers on paper are still a much better team than the Padres. But sometimes these games don't always play out like that, guys. The Padres had the Dodgers' number in the regular season in some of those series, and they're going to have their work cut out. Betts, Freeman, these guys got to start really hitting the ball and really putting the ball in play. Max Muncy's back. They have a lot of positives on their lineup. We all know that. But the pitching is the whole concern. Flaherty, Yamamoto, these guys got to get the job done without a doubt. Those are the front two starters. Because San Diego's going to be real hungry, but you are playing in Chavez Ravine. So I imagine there's going to be great two-way action, maybe a little Padre action on that game. Thus far, it's two-way. It's in its infancy betting. We do have the lines up. Dodgers are currently minus 130, Padres plus 120. We have the 10-cent straddle at the Rampart in the South Point. The best deal in Las Vegas by far. Yankees, I'm sitting at minus 190 against the Royals in that first game. And the Guardians, naturally, are a slight favorite over the Tigers, 145. That's going to be a great, great matchup. Tonight's game, Brewers 128, Mets plus 118 on the dog. Milwaukee looking to close it out. Remember, you do play all these games at home. There is no travel in that first round. So this game is in Milwaukee, not at Citi Field. So this is an important matchup. We're getting good two-way action thus far. A little high on the Brewers, but nothing that's going to move the needle. But I anticipate a plethora of money to come in late. Pitching matchup, Marty against Quintana.
But Dodgers a slight favorite in this one, being at home, but that's about it. What you got, about $1.35, $1.45 series price?
Hold on, I'm looking right now, guys. That was the game price that I did give. Dodgers at 140. We're going to get more money than San Diego when it comes to the series prices, but the game-by-game is a totally different story. Dodgers have that home field, so that's very important. But like I said, San Diego finished up real nice. They destroyed, Atlanta in the first round. But keep in mind, you have a lot going for you. Atlanta had to play that doubleheader.
Yeah.
They had to squeak out that last game just to, crawl in. And then you have to travel all the way to San Diego, and you had rabid fans there. I mean, great turnout for the San Diego fans. And, definitely a positive for Major League Baseball when you have these exciting games and exciting finishes. And San Diego got the job done, but I'm not selling my Dodgers short, like I said. If they could just hit the ball, best hits in opportune spots. I mean, you notice how I'm not mentioning Ohtani because he's going to be so fired up for his playoff debut. It's going to be off the hook. And I could see the Dodgers winning a long series here, but, don't sell the Padres short either.
He got to his 55, didn't he? He did 54 home runs,
54.
and he had more stolen.
54, 58, I believe
54,
it was.
58. Yeah, pretty damn. But, the Padres did get him 2 years ago and knocked the Dodgers out. Dodgers had held their own. Now, the Padres have the best record in baseball since the All-Star break, since they were one game over 500. But I'm worried about your team, but I'm not as worried about them as much as I am your Cowboys, because there's a new Cowboy killer out there, and his name is Jaden Daniels. So we've shifted our focus from the Saints to the Commanders now. With we're fair weather over here. So how are you going to stop this rookie from Washington?
Well, come on, they didn't even play him yet. So he's very impressive. He only has 8 incompletions in the last 2 games, and I've been singing his praises if you watch social media. I'm a bookmaker, guys, first and foremost. I don't always hang my hat, on my team. If there's an enormous decision, you will find me rooting against my teams. But this kid has been lights out, I tell you. He's done very little wrong. Quality of opponent is what we have to keep our eye on. And the Cowboy matchup, will be important, and I'll have my eyes on it. I'm not sure the whole United States will, but I will. And definitely it's going to be very, very exciting. I tell you, the kid, he shows so much tremendous poise and, a presence, and he knows exactly when to run, and he's showing flashes of brilliance. But let's get down to the game this week. Commanders are -3 and taking a plethora of money at home against the Browns. People are starting to really notice the Jalen Daniels factor. Definitely. Unlike, superstar wide receiver on the Giants that, like I told you, could do. He's limited in what he could do because of who's delivering him the ball, and that he's the only offensive weapon. We'll stress that again. That's why the Seahawks are 6.5 over the Giants this week. And you're looking at a 5-1 ticket count there right now on the Seahawks. So, definitely we're keeping our eye on the LSU superstars here in the NFL because we do that at the Rampart South Point and especially on ESPN 104.5. Dallas, they're playing a tough game against the Steelers. What's the last game? In the Super Bowl. That's a weird matchup, I'll be honest with you. We're traveling into Pittsburgh. Steelers are -2.5. Ticket count is fairly close, a little more on the Cowboys and a little high on the Cowboy money thus far this week. But, this division, guys, let's look at the NFC East. It is horrible. This is why Jaden Daniels could easily come in and sneak away with this division title. Philadelphia looks in disarray. They have not corrected anything in the offseason. Sirianni is definitely, he's on the hot seat, despite being a 500 team right now. You have to keep your eye on the strings that this man pulls and how effective the Eagles are moving forward. They definitely have to improve. They're not playing at a high level of football. Dallas, they're not playing at a high level either. Good enough to beat the Giants. Should have covered that game. It was a weird ending, and a lot of people were moaning and groaning, kicking that field goal on the fly. One of the best kickers that we've seen in the last 20 years, and he misses. McCarthy maybe should have taken the 5-yard penalty there because time was running very low on the play clock. And you have a guy that could kick a 70-yard field goal, so what's an extra 5 yards? But, that's hindsight. The game landed on 5. Dallas did what they had to do to beat the Giants, which they've owned over the last 5-6 years. I mean, it's been so dominant, similar to the way the Saints dominate the Cowboys when they match up against them. So the NFC East is what I call the NFC least right now.
Yeah.
There are far better teams in the NFC, guys.
Surprising the league last year, division last year. We're up against the clock, Kaluch, but one thing, you got to be taking all UNLV running Rebels, huh? How the town's got to be excited. The quarterback switch, they galvanized, they destroyed the Fresno State last week, which is not a bad team.
Yeah, no, not at all. And we're definitely taking a ton of UNLV money in this game just because of where we are. Don't sell Syracuse short, though. We have a 5-1 ticket count on UNLV. We will be rooting for Syracuse. Line, running Rebels 6.5 against Syracuse. Very tough spot to play at Allegiant here. So Syracuse has their work cut out for them. I think they beat Holy Cross. They're coming off that victory, so we'll see how it plays out.
Holy Cross, that's Jordan. That's our producer's alma mater. Right there. They moved from Chalmette to right there by the bayou.
Holy Cross's claim to fame right now is ex-quarterbacks. They're ex-quarterbacks.
Hawksaluka.
Yeah.
Hawksaluka. He's running with that girl from Nashville.
He's out of work right now.
You're the man.
Social media hottie.
Hawksaluka. There you go. All right. Gotta love it. Hockey picks next week. We're looking forward to it, man. You've been on a roll the last few years, and we're ready to get those picks on the ice already. Have a great weekend. Good luck, Kaluch. We appreciate it. Follow Dwayne on Twitter at NYBookie. Dwayne, always entertaining, informational stuff on his Twitter handle. Good luck this weekend, Kaluch.
Live from the original Walk-Ons, live at lunch, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Live at lunch with Ott and Hanny from the original Walk-Ons on Burbank on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
One of the things to remember about when we're looking at Washington is schedule. They get Cleveland and Baltimore the next 2 weeks. Then it softens considerably. Carolina, Chicago, the Giants. The thing that stands out to me, though, Jimmy, is they don't play Philadelphia or Dallas until the middle of November. Washington's last 7 games, 4 of them are against the 2 teams that they got to beat for the division. So we're a long ways off from seeing those head-to-head matchups that are going to end up deciding that NFC East.
They're going to have a more favorable schedule, in those 3 games where they play, teams that finish below, Dallas and Philadelphia in the standings. That's fair. What Randy McKay said yesterday. Great thing about Randy is zero emotion. I mean, he's just strictly analytical, and he's tremendous on NFL. But he wants to see them play better defenses. The Bears are not a better team, but the Bears are a considerably better defense than, say, Arizona.
Yeah, so is Cleveland this week. As bad as their offense is, that's a good
Cleveland
defense.
is good defensively. Yeah, the Watson. How do you? I'm still. You'll let Joe Flacco go. Let them walk.
Best quarterback in Cleveland or Indianapolis right now. Joseph Flacco.
You can run the offense, yeah.
Matt Yuma's with us, Kenny White in hour number 2. We're at the original Walk-Ons, Burbank and Nicholson, live at lunch, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Lunch with Ott and Hanny from the original Walk-Ons on Burbank
Let me
on
know.
104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
And we return here at the original walk-on. But it's going to be a great atmosphere for the Ole Miss game here next week.
Yeah, it is, man. It is.
We're going to have it's going to be off the hook for that game.
It's going to be great, man. It's been a a lot of roots, back in the day, in the 50s and 60s, and so the older generation, it's always one to get a little bit juice going, but they're playing for something now, Yeah. LSU's in the hunt. Much as we were kind of like had the opening week loss, a game you could have won. I don't know about shoulda, but coulda, shoulda, whatever you choose. But I mean, it came down to the end, and you thought that like, man, that's gonna be too big of an uphill climb. But there you go, and then Ole Miss made it real. This thing was so set up for them to make it. But that loss against Kentucky, the way that Kentucky plays, they ran it 47 times. They're very physical on defense. Jackson Dart, Kiffin always likes to run his quarterbacks 15 times a game or something. He averaged less than 2 yards a carry. And they beat him up. And now you got to play two teams on the road coming off a bye. Back-to-back weeks with South Carolina getting healthy with Sellers back. They got two guys coming off the edge and are really, really good. LSU's going to be, Kelly's teams do get better over the course of the season. So, they got their work cut out for them. I cannot see how Ole Miss is going to get out of this with wins both at South Carolina and LSU.
It would be tough, and we've got this question going up on the station survey this week about how many SEC teams are going to make the playoffs. The loser of this one, it's going to be not quite impossible, but next to impossible, because the teams that LSU and Ole Miss have lost other games already, before we got out of September. If Georgia loses to Alabama, it doesn't hurt them that much. If Texas loses to Georgia, it doesn't crush them. But if you lose two games and the teams that you've lost to have already lost other games, you're really up against it. So,
Charlie, 10-2 SEC teams going to get in. It's going to take a lot for them not to get in.
If LSU lost to Alabama the rest of the way,
they're going to get in
at 10-2. Okay, if Ole Miss
10-2 SEC team, 9-3 teams got a shot.
I think some 10-2 SEC teams are getting in, but I'm not sure all 10-2 SEC teams are going to get in.
I'd be very surprised. How many? What's the most 10-2 teams you can have? That Ole Miss lost to Kentucky. It's going to be. You can't have more than 4, huh? I guess it's mathematically possible, but it's going to be real difficult.
It's hard.
That's going to be hard because Alabama's got to play Tennessee. Who's got the? The most. Missouri's got a joke schedule.
They really,
a joke.
They really
they're favored
do.
11 of the 12. And they're they're underdog in this one.
Well, like a point, right?
Yeah, point and a half. They'll be expected to lose at Alabama. But other than that, this game Saturday probably decide if they get in or not. They're not that good.
No,
BC and Vandy gave them all they could handle. But it's a joke. You look at the schedule. It's a joke.
They're a good example of a 10-2 SEC team that might not.
Okay,
get
I can live with that. Yeah. I can live with Missouri. That's a shot. But Texas, no. Georgia, no. Ole Miss, no. Alabama, no. Tennessee, no. No, those teams, those 5 teams, if they're 10-2, they're getting in.
If Missouri lost at South Carolina,
LSU 10-2, they're getting in.
I think it's got to include a win against Alabama if you want to be sure.
Okay,
I think if you beat Ole Miss, if you lost to Alabama, you beat Ole Miss, and you lost to say Oklahoma.
Yeah, but
I'm not sure.
It doesn't matter. You schedule 10-2, Charlie. How does it matter who you lost to? Because
because you might be comparing your resume against other 10-2 teams.
But your resume is if you beat Alabama, it's a great win. Okay, but then you lose to Ole Miss. That's a worse loss than Alabama. Losing to Alabama is not a terrible loss.
No, but who have you? They would ask LSU, who have you beaten? If you beat Ole Miss,
you beat A&M on the road,
Oklahoma, are any of those teams guaranteed to be in the top 15?
No, Oklahoma's not a top 15 team, but that's partly due to their schedule too.
And Ole Miss, if you beat them and they lose to Texas, they're a 3-loss team.
Ole Miss doesn't play Texas.
Who does Ole Miss play?
Exactly.
That's any good?
They play Oklahoma.
Okay.
They play them in Oxford. They're favored in 11. They don't play Alabama this year. You just looking at Ole Miss's schedule now?
I've looked at Ole Miss's schedule 100 times. It's got me confused. Okay,
It does.
Because I've been doing this the same way.
But
for
South
30
Carolina's
years.
better than what they thought, right?
I'm sorry. Ole Miss loses to Georgia. That's I'm trying to put who the big teams
Ole Miss
are.
has no room for error now.
Right.
That's the thing. They got to win these. And if they win these 2 games on the road against decent teams that they're coming off a bye, hey man, you got to give them their flowers. And then they could afford a loss to Georgia. Big deal.
What I'm saying to you is, if LSU loses to Alabama and beats everybody else on the schedule, they're 10-2, and they're going to say, "Who's your best win?" And if Ole Miss is your best win, and they're 22nd in the country, that ain't going to look that great. Or Oklahoma's your best win, and that
It's
ain't
still
that
going to
great.
be good enough, man.
It might be.
They're 12 or 13 now.
We
You're going to tell me they're going to go 7-1 in the SEC the rest of the way? I mean, or 6-1 with a rental win? I mean, they're not going to get in? Of course they're going to get in. It's going to be hard to keep. The LSU schedule is not that cake. It's not Missouri's schedule.
No, it's
Missouri.
better.
I think
It's
Missouri
better
is
than
the
that.
only team. I mean, USC's not terrible.
They're not terrible, but if
Well,
you're
I mean,
looking at best win, LSU might not have a top 20
well,
win.
what's your worst loss?
USC.
Okay,
If
neutral
you-
USC. That's not terrible. I mean, okay, it's not great, but you won 10 games.
If USC ends up 9-3 or 8-4,
Vandy get no credit for them.
No.
Although they're improved, but Ole Miss would be. And look, that's the way LSU schedule is following this year, where you got your tougher games at home. Oklahoma, Alabama, Ole Miss, and then you got Vandy. But I mean, the road games. South Carolina's going to be a decent win on the road.
it'll be a decent win on the road, but it won't be. I don't think it'll be a top 20
I mean,
win
who you
on the road.
compare it to? You going to give me a 10-2 team from the Big Ten? I mean, okay, you're definitely not giving me a 10-2 team from the ACC or the Big 12.
Well,
that's out.
I can think of 4 of them in the Southeastern Conference that you're going to be up against. If Texas, Georgia, Alabama, and Tennessee all have 2 losses or less, those 4 teams are getting in based on their schedule.
A lot of them playing each other.
They do play each other, but you can
I
get them to. I can get them to 2 losses. I can get a lot of those teams to 2 losses.
That's fine. There'll be one of them.
So then LSU's.
Charlie, there's a
LSU's
lot
the
to be
15th.
played. It's going to
There
be
is.
very,
There is.
very, 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 very difficult to keep a 10-2 team, an SEC team out. Very difficult. I mean, who's the 4 road game? Arkansas, South Carolina,
Texas A&M.
A&M's going to be 8-4 this year.
You'll have a lot of good wins. I don't know if you'll have a great
They're
win,
4-1 right now. They're going to be 8-4.
and that's a good win. It's
Yeah,
not. It's not a great win.
It's not. But I mean, and you got. So you mean you beat the team like Penn State? What has Penn State done forever? They beat the teams they're supposed to. They're not even competitive. But guess what? They would have been in the playoff, a 12-team playoff. I mean, what 6 out the last 9 years?
Yeah,
That gets you in. And the SEC is tougher than the Big Ten.
it is. I also think that there will be significant pushback by the committee. They won't admit it, to putting a 5th SEC team in. If you
No. If they're the 5th team, you're going to talk about 5, 10-2 teams in the SEC. That's maybe mathematically possible, but you know what the chances of that are? That's really not. That's not very.
Then tell me out of.
That is highly improbable
Okay,
to have 5 10-2 SEC teams.
Then tell me out of Tennessee, Georgia, Alabama, and Texas. Is any of those teams going to have more than 2 losses? That's 4.
Well, Georgia can lose at Ole Miss and at Texas.
They could. They could.
I don't think they will.
No, I think they at least split those games.
I think they. I will give you. I think they gained something out of that game. Had a lot of adversity. Can't afford to go. Get bum rushed for a half and then try and fight your way out of it. Still had the lead, but I think they gained some things, and I think they found some weapons on the outside that they didn't know they had going into that game as well.
Yeah, and if you're Georgia and you're 10-2 and your 2 losses are in Austin and Tuscaloosa, come on.
Georgia's a lock at 10-2.
Yeah.
A lock.
Okay.
A lot.
Their 10-2 looks a lot better than LSU's 10-2 if LSU got to 10-2.
But Georgia's been good for all their eyeball too, which means a lot. Has been better than LSU's.
What if Tennessee's 10-2 is losses to Alabama and Georgia?
Tennessee now has a favorable schedule as well. Missouri's schedule is the lightest. Tennessee's is right behind it. But they play Georgia also.
They play Georgia and Alabama.
Okay, well, they got to play Georgia and Alabama.
They lose those two.
Well, they go to Arkansas. They already beat Oklahoma on the road. Okay, Oklahoma's not going to have a bunch of home losses. Alabama goes to Norman, but I mean that Oklahoma getting that thing, somehow winning that game at Auburn when they got out first down 27-11, whatever it was.
Yeah.
I mean, that makes that Oklahoma was on its way to getting. They got some losses in them, but they're still not going to lose a ton at home.
Florida sucking is a big problem with conference scheduling balance. You know that? Because that's supposed to be one of Tennessee's big games, and it's not.
100%. I think this is a little bit of a trap game for them also with Florida and Bama back-to-back weeks after this trip to Fayetteville. Mm-hmm. So it's a little bit of a situational spot. They are coming off of a bye, though, and I talked about that's why I like Tennessee over their win total this year because, I never dreamed their defense would be this good. You know, some people debating whose defense is better between Tennessee and Kentucky's. It's not Georgia. You can't. Alabama can't go up and down the field like that, and you're the best team. That's one. Ryan Williams, outstanding. Bill Rowe, outstanding. I get it, but these guys, that's not a typical Georgia secondary. I'm sorry, they can't have angles on Milroe. Well, Milroe's, I got it, but they've been super athletic.
That's where all their young guys are. In the secondary.
What helps Georgia too?
Their experienced guys are up front.
What helps Georgia too? Clemson going to win every game. It's going to be hard to beat Clemson. We just want to write Klubnik. Oh, he's terrible. Klubnik is on fire. He's on fire.
And they don't play Miami in the regular season.
No. So they're going to be 11-1.
They're going to probably go
10-2 at the worst.
Florida
So that's a good win.
On Saturday.
Neutral site.
That is a good win.
Dominating win.
I'm with you on Georgia. Georgia could lose 2 games if they lose those 2 games, or
It's
even
just
2 out of 3 to Alabama, Texas, and Tennessee, and they're fine.
And I think Tennessee's eyeball gives them a benefit of the doubt if they're 10-2 and they're like the 4th or 5th 10-2 team. Missouri needs help. I think LSU's Charlie. They'll be fine. They'll be fine if they got to win.
You got to get there.
You're gonna have to beat.
Let's see what Tennessee looks like.
Split with LSU, Ole Miss, and win the rest. At A&M's gonna be tough.
Yeah,
you can win.
I think you're more likely to lose 3 games, but I'm saying if you do get to 10-2,
of course they are.
Let's see what Tennessee looks like in Fayetteville this weekend. That's an interest. I expect them to win. I want to see how they win.
I wouldn't be. I think it's going to be ugly, and I wouldn't be alarmed. They gotta follow it up with just 2-2 wins. They cannot be as bad as Florida is. That series, that rivalry, still has some juice to it. I mean, because Florida dominant for so long. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm overstating. Maybe these kids could care less. They look the last couple of years, and Florida's not any good. But I mean, I still think that those 2 games back to back, it helps. This helps. Tennessee's schedule falls right. You coming off that bye against Arkansas. Going into Arkansas, but it's a tricky spot. And damn, Sam Pittman, Arkansas, realize who you are. Do not run this guy off. I know you give him at least another year. But I mean, and Petrino is not your answer. I don't know. A lot of people are connecting the dots there. I'm not necessarily in agreement with that.
I wouldn't. I won't say that they won't, though.
How can it? I mean, you get what you get. If with that guy's track record, as a leader of young men, he would really flow into the NIL era so smoothly with his track record.
No, thank you.
Our friends at Workbox Services, our friends at Martin Padial, they sold a branch of the business, but they have not sold all of it. Padials is still rolling, baby. No more portalettes or dumpsters, but we've got more movable storage needs, commercial and or residential. So talking about those shipping containers, custom storage containers, we have all different sizes at Workbox. Most of these shipping containers and the custom storage containers Standard size, not with Workbox. You can get an 8x8 feet, 8x10, 8x20, or 8x40 feet. And also, you can customize it exactly how you want it. You want tool storage container for a job site, custom lunchroom. Hey, welders and plumbers, custom work site, on site. We can customize it any way you want. Safety storage near the plant that you reach all of the requirements. Customize your part office or part storage. You can do their dual purpose containers, whatever. It's climate control, different shelving or lighting, different materials, whether you want to use wooden or metal. We can customize it any way you want to exactly fit your preferences. WorkboxLLC.com, WorkboxLLC.com. Give Workbox a call, 343-4886.
Live at the original Walk-Ons Live at Lunch, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Lunch with Ott and Hanny from the original Walk-Ons on Burbank on 104.5 ESPN, Baton Rouge.
Remember, you can always get the show on demand, the new LouisianaSports.net, 104.5ESPN.com. New Handycast is up with film review from last week's game. Myself and Richard Dixon. You can search Handycast on YouTube. Subscribe, like, all that stuff for the film review that you get there. Jimmy, is today the first of this is like first of, would you say 45 days with football?
Yeah, I think it's till late November.
Yeah, probably until.
I think it's after. Thanksgiving. What day is Thanksgiving? Is it late?
Whatever the last Thursday in November is, the fourth Thursday in November is.
It's the fourth.
Probably till the Tuesday
November,
after. The Tuesday after
Thanksgiving's the 28th. So I think during that week, maybe.
Oh man, don't we always have maybe not Wednesday night before Thanksgiving?
Tuesday?
No, we got MAC football usually that night.
So maybe it'd be December 2nd.
The Tuesday
maybe
after
December 2nd.
The Tuesday after the regular season ends.
And that's 30, and this is I think it's sometime in November, Charles. I think it's late November because that'll be 45 days.
That's fine with me.
Fine with you?
Fine with me.
Sun Belt, Fun Belt, Action.
Coosa stepping up next week on the midweek games.
Coosa.
Aren't you dying to see Jacksonville State?
They play Kennesaw State this week. So with Bet Rivers, they asked me to do a sicko game of the week, and they give me the probably the most the cruddiest matchups they can find. Okay. And they asked me to. So I had 10.
They went to the right guy because you'll dive into anything.
But I don't bet these games.
No, I know,
Charlie.
I know you
even
don't.
I have standards.
But I remember the first year they make you do all these conference previews. So you're
that was the worst.
You're more adept at talking about Florida International than most.
Yes. But the thing is, I mean, it's. I'm looking at it, I'm trying to evaluate these games. I'm like, I mean, UMass, all right. UMass and Temple. I mean, or Temple. I mean, no, Utah State and Temple. But Utah State, I'm like, they might be a little light in the emotional tank, all right?
Okay.
I mean, they played Utah, even though Rising was out. And, man, they played them tough early. They were I watched the game. They were fired up against Utah. Well, eventually, the quality of roster took over. And I think Utah won by about 2 touchdowns in Logan. They were at home. So I thought there's a rivalry game, and they were in it. And so they left a little emotion. They go to Temple, the 6.5 point. Temple wins by like 17. All right? Mm-hmm. So, when we hit it, here we come back again with the second. Okay. Oh, UMass is terrible. All right? But they're getting 17.5. This team doesn't be up. Well, UMass went to overtime and almost won the game. So Sicko's 2-0. Okay. So we're coming back again. And who it is? Jacksonville State, the Roosters, right?
No, Gamecocks. Yeah,
okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Rich Rod.
Yes. Not quite as. Kennesaw State is not good. And they're averaging my man has 1 touchdown pass this year. So I had to lay it with Jacksonville State on the road here.
Okay.
Yes.
I'm not going to be watching that game tomorrow night.
Neither am I.
I'm going to.
Is that tomorrow night?
That's tomorrow night.
No.
I'll probably watch. I know I'm going to watch Syracuse and UNLV. I'll probably check. I think it's a better game than Michigan State, Oregon, but I'm I'll probably check in on that game a little bit too. Michigan State and Oregon.
I'll go watch my little boy, White Lightning, Chucky Musgrove tomorrow.
Okay.
Charles Musgrove at U High. Yes, indeed.
Oh, you'll be home in time to catch the second half of Syracuse.
Yeah, I'll be at home.
In
So,
Vegas.
So go see my buddy play for U High. So you put U High and St. Paul. So go check them out tomorrow.
The college slate's been a little bit light on the Thursday nights. The pro games have been a little bit better.
College, it seems like college, the more quality matchups have moved to Friday to avoid what? The big monster.
Avoid the NFL.
Yeah. I mean, Amazon put it on. But poo-poo TV, people are going to buy it, man. I mean, it is just so. For them to trademark the 2-minute warning is just. I mean, that is so
obnoxious.
That's obnoxious. That is obnoxious. Very good. Nauseating. I mean, do you try? You just testing how much we detest you, but they it's
Big
I mean, Friday. The Big Ten's been those games have been good. That Nebraska-Illinois game was really good, man.
And I think the coaches is objecting
that
to
Stanford-Syracuse game was good, man.
Yeah, was.
So
and we got some decent matchups coming up on the Friday nights.
We got the what's it the Woke and Coke Bowl, huh? I mean, can you believe so? There's this really bad pop song, okay, by this group, Chapel Roan, okay, and the name of it. So Cal's never done it. So Cal,
first time for game day.
Okay,
yeah.
so it's this chick band called Chapel Roan, and they're doing "Hot to Go." I mean, the song will give you a headache, but they actually auditioned singers, and they did a whole new video. And this is close to home. This is why I bring in Charlie.
Okay.
Who's the running back for Cal?
Ott, right?
Yes, yeah, my boy, man.
I forgot his first
name. Jaden
Ott, okay.
So they switched it from Hot to Go to Ott to Go. And so they got the whole thing. But, hey, to doing a little creativity, the whole thing. And so, and the part of the song goes, HOTTOGO. And they go on OTT. Yeah, man, it's all good, baby. They're going to do it.
I knew if you were coming with a pop culture reference, there had to be something up there. Jeez.
Ott to Go, baby.
Ott to Go.
He's Cal should have won that game at Florida State. We both had Florida State. We did. I'll admit I was lucky to cash that ticket.
Outgained them by over 100 yards. I believe.
Yeah, that's a Max Gotro game. Field goals got you beat in that game.
It was ugly.
You got to go for it.
I wonder if the gig is up at Florida State. I was looking at them.
Dude, wait a minute. He doesn't get any credit. They didn't fire Mel Tucker the year after, right?
Well, they did, but it was off the field stuff.
But they gave him a big contract. They have Norvell a big contract after last year?
He's got a decent-sized contract, but the Mel Tucker thing was with the
I know, but they gave him a big contract. If it was not for cause, they were not going to make a move.
No, they weren't going to eat it.
But this is – and I said this was –
No, I don't think Norvell's getting fired. That's not what I meant. I just the season's done.
Well, some people were talking about like he's in trouble and stuff. This is the unfortunate part. His quarterback gets hurt, so then they're tired of seeing these blowouts, and so they wanted a better game. And the better game was Alabama and Michigan, as opposed to Florida State and Michigan. It was. But they were not deserving. Florida State went undefeated, dude. 13-0 in, a decent league. I mean, they deserve to be in there. So what happens? Man, them kids, them transfer portal guys, they're not committed to you as much as the guy who comes from high school, stays, develops, and, starts contributing year two, or whatever, I mean, easy come, easy go, right? Yeah. But I said, when the Georgia Tech, I said, I'm like Georgia Tech in this game against Florida State, Labor Day night. It's a standalone game. We're in Vegas. I mean, we're going to bet it. But it's not my favorite game. But, yeah, I'm taking Georgia Tech. The success rate of all those players, 17 of the 22 that started the Orlando game against LSU were transfer portal guys. And it wasn't just the stars at Coleman and some others. But, man, they had so many hits. That's just hard to duplicate, that hit rate of bringing in transfer portal guys. I called it Michigan State light. This is every bit of Michigan State, if not more.
Ordinarily, I don't like to do this, but real quick. Florida State, Clemson. Clemson wins.
Sure.
Florida State at Duke.
Well, I'm
They
not going to go.
They probably lose that.
They're going to be like 4-8.
They might be 2-10. Is where I'm going with this.
You going to lose to Florida?
They could.
They're bad.
They got one win guaranteed left on the schedule at Charleston Southern, and the rest of them, they probably end up winning one or two of those games. But they're staring 3-9 right in the face. Oh no! It's so bad.
It is
so bad.
Ought to go, Charlie.
Ought to go,
baby. Yes, indeed.
Read something, will you?
Hey, at least they're doing something. The campus at Berkeley is really nice. Okay, it's weird because you got to go through Oakland to get there. It's just displaced. It's very hilly too. So the stadium is up on a hill, and then you go down like kind of. It's. I mean, I like to go to all the camp. I just like doing it. I've been to Northwestern, Evanston, Illinois.
I thought you had a great line. You said they could give a crap about football out there. They care deeply at Auburn. They care deeply at Florida State.
Oh, they could give two.
Cal went 1-1 and almost.
But now they got game day. They're all in.
Yeah,
they're all in. Don't forget our friends at United Community Bank, the local way to bank big, with locations from Baton Rouge to Golden Meadow, included their newest branch at Burbank in Bluebonnet. Our great team of bankers: Heath Meir, Nicole Glover, Prentice Wilkes, Hunter Creed, David Campbell, David Henry. United Community Bank. Stop on by, visit our group of bankers, and see how we can help your business today. United Community Bank, member FDIC, equal housing lender.
Live at the original walk-ons, live at lunch, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Lunch with Ott and Hanny from the original Walk-Ons on Burbank on 104.5 ESPN, Baton Rouge.
Kenny White, for years, odds maker, behind the counter, setting the lines in Las Vegas. Now on our side of the counter, handicapping games. He's with us each and every Thursday at 12:30. Kenny, how you doing, buddy?
Hey, Jimmy, I'm doing great. Thank you, and appreciate you having me on the show. A lot of stuff going on today, and we're going to go over some games, but your listeners have been great, as I mentioned last week. A lot of people coming to sign up for the power ratings from Louisiana and right in the Baton Rouge area. So you got a great following, my man. And if they want to listen to my show, Bet the Gambit, I previewed the Major League Baseball game tonight and the NFL game tonight. I did make a bet on both games, smaller bets, 1% plays.
Dogs barking minus San Diego in those MLB games, to say the least, man. There was some surprises in Major League Baseball in the early rounds. All right, Kenny, before we get to your picks, your top three college picks and your NFL pick of the week, shed me some light on a couple of things. First, Devontae Adams, what do you think of him, as the whole situation there? And then two, UNLV, they play with their hair on fire. Can they sustain that against a decent passing attack in like Syracuse tomorrow night?
Now, there's a couple things that I look at that I add to my handicapping each and every game and each and every matchup. And one is when you are voted into the top 25 for the first time that season after week 4, those teams only cover the spread 35% of the time because they feel like they've accomplished something and they exhale, and there's no time to exhale. You got to keep working and getting better. So that's a bad spot. The other, you add into it, Matt Sluka leaving and Haji Malik Williams becoming the starting quarterback. Now, Jimmy, I had both guys rated equally coming into the year. I had Williams the better passer. I had Sluka the better runner, but they were identical rated guys. So losing Sluka was no drop-off for me. The team rallied around Sluka leaving, and they rallied around Williams. We'll show you, Matthew Sluka. We don't need you. And they played their A-plus game. I don't think teams can play A-plus games back-to-back. And now they know they're the favorite, too. They're looking at the betting board going, oh, my gosh, we're favored over Syracuse. We're really good. Syracuse is off a loss, and they're the underdog. All of those factors have helped kind of adjust my betting line, and I took 7 with Syracuse. You can still get 6.5, I believe.
Yeah, it was all over UNLV last week, but I'm going to be on Syracuse tomorrow night, no doubt about that. Let's get to your top college games. Great job on Colorado, 14-point dog. They win by a ton. And Illinois Penn State was never close to going over 47.5. You had the under there. Lost on Kansas, back and forth before TCU pulled away for a double-digit win in Lawrence. Sam Houston State at home. 10.5-point favorites over UTEP.
This is UTEP is coached by Scotty Walden. He's first year at UTEP. He came from Austin Peay. He's an excellent football coach. He is a great, fundamentally sound guy that can recruit. So I think he's going to do well at UTEP. I don't know how long he'll be there because I'm sure someone else is going to snatch him up. He's played a very difficult schedule so far at Nebraska, at Liberty, and at Colorado State. 3 big road games they've played. They did play a cupcake in Southern Utah and lost in overtime at home, but I see this team getting better every week, and they've gone under all 4 games. They are a slow team. They're very well-balanced offensively, and they're playing a Sam Houston team that loves to run the ball 65% of the time, and they're very methodical, 92nd in the country in pace. They've gone under 3 of their 5 games so far this year. So I expect a lower scoring game. I kind of expect a letdown from Sam Houston off the Texas State win. That was a big one, a thriller, a 40-39 game. So I'm expecting a much lower scoring game, the clock to run. And I have Texas El Paso's defense rated higher than Sam Houston's defense. So I got the home team. I love home dogs. And now I got the home dog with the better defense in the game. They don't have the better offense. It's not even close. Sam Houston's offense is far better, but I'll take that defense plus the points.
All right, UTEP, the Miners, plus 10.5 on the road at Sam Houston State. All right, Commander-in-Chief, round robin, 3-team, Army, Navy, Air Force, 2 of them in action today. And 2 teams going in opposite directions of recent past. You know, Brad Robertson and Zeke Daniels are gone from Air Force. Their offense has struggled. 12.5 points a game, 276 there. Navy, well, Horvath is much improved. 160 yards passing a game. That's a lot for Navy. 7 TDs, 1 interception. 112 rushing a game, including with 8 more TDs. 9.5 yards a carry. But Navy on the road here, double-digit favorites. Kenny, it's up to 10.5. Maybe a little bit too much here?
Yeah, this is called what they call over the pond a derby game. The derby games are rivals that can't stand each other. And in those type of situations, European handicappers have said it for 100 years. Throw out the stats. It doesn't matter what they've done so far this season, because all that matters for both teams is this game this weekend. This Air Force, you mentioned, 0-4. They're struggling to score. They're still running the ball, Jimmy, for 171 yards a game. Now, that's not great, but right now Navy's at 268. My projections, because these teams, these triple option teams, Army, Navy, and Air Force, we see the total every year, 32, 33. They've gone under 75% of the time because they practice against this offense every day. The defense sees it every day. So when you see it that often, you're able to slow it down, and sometimes you're able to stop it. So that's why these games go under in these military academies. So we're looking at such a low total, points at a premium, a derby game. These teams can't stand each other. Air Force has a ton to prove. I love the double digits. I think this is a 16-13 type of football game.
All right, so Air Force plus the points against Navy. Low total there, indicating that the score might be down at 36. So double digits in a game where the total is that low is definitely, just do the math. It carries more weight. All right, BC and Virginia here. BC's had some close games. They were down last week against Western Kentucky. They come back and win in that one. They were also down to Michigan State. They come back and won that one late. Michigan State losing a turnover battle there, and were very, very competitive at Columbia, Missouri, and their only loss 27-21. Going to Charlottesville, take on Virginia. Spread is around pick 'em here, but you're more interested in the total, which is at 53.
Yeah, I like it under, Jimmy. Bill O'Brien, the head coach of Boston College, is a Bill Belichick disciple from New England. He was their offensive coordinator. He has a professional football mindset of offensive play, and that's run the football, power run, conservative. He doesn't want to go fast. That's the Patriots' way. 65% run. They're 104th in pace in the country, about 30 seconds in between plays. He's 4-1 to the under in his 5 games so far. The only game that went over, he won 56-0 over Duquesne. They threw a shutout in that game. The defense has been tremendous all year. On the flip side, Virginia's offense has struggled a little bit. They're not too bad, but I do have the defense rated higher than their offense. I've got their offense 66, the defense number 55. I wish I could tell you Virginia played slow. No, they don't. They do play pretty quick, 28th fastest in the country, but up against this Boston College defense, I think it's going to be tough. Castellanos, the starting quarterback for Boston College, missed last week. That was a 6-point drop-off after everything shook out, and I got stats for the backup quarterback. So it's a big difference. But Castellanos is supposed to play this week. He's more of a running quarterback than he is a passing quarterback. But again, both teams I have better defensively than on the offensive end, and I think you'll see a little bit more running from Virginia in this game as well. So move that clock quickly, shorten the game, and let's get us under the total.
All right, you hit easily on your total last week with Penn State in Illinois. All right, NFL, your top pick this week. We're going to the Sunday night game, prime time, and two blue bloods here. Steelers in Dallas. Hoping to get a little steel curtain versus doomsday type of effect here. You're looking at the total, which like under 44, Kenny.
Yeah, Jimmy, I do play a lot of totals, and I play more totals than I play sides, and it just made sense to me when I first started betting, and I used to ask, how much do you take on that game? And they'd say, 2,000. I'd say, all right, give me under. And the guy would go, no, we don't take that on totals. We take 500. I'm like, well, why don't you take 2,000 on the sides, but 500 on the totals? Yeah, that's it. And that's the way it has been in sports betting. Why? Because the bookmakers know they hold 3 to 4% on the sides, and they break dead even on totals over the years, and especially college football totals. So NFL totals, they do hold a little bit higher percentage because it is the NFL. The information's out there, and it's a larger market, obviously. But that's why I focus on totals. If you really focus in on totals and unders specifically, because they do hit 3% more than overs do. So that's why I'm on unders, but I'm under here, Dallas, Pittsburgh. McCarthy, interesting, since he's been at Dallas in his 4 years, coming in 22-12 under on the road. He just went under in his last game at New York. They win 20-15. So he looks like he plays a little bit more conservative on the road, and he's not the over team in this game. It's Pittsburgh who's the under team in this game. Mike Tomlin, 63-36 to the under. Last 100, there's one tie in there, so 63% under, coach. He's 3-1 under already this year. The reason why, the offense is rather average at 18th best in the NFL. The defense, top 5, number 4 in the NFL, and they do not play at a fast pace. They play at a slow pace, and they like to run the ball, run the clock, keep the game down. The only reason last week's game went over is they fell far behind against Indianapolis, 14-0 in the first. I don't think that happens here in this game, so love this one under.
That's why we like having you on, Kenny, using your history of being on both sides of the counter and providing that insight. Not many. Usually the opposite, no. Kenny. You go strong from handicapper and you go to behind the counter and working for the house. So you did it in reverse order. So we always appreciate that little insight there. Check out Kenny's website at KennyWhiteSports.com, KennyWhiteSports.com, and you can it'll lead you to all the different packages that he has, his power ratings, VIP club, and other things as well. Kenny, anything else that you want to touch on that maybe you caught that it's affecting your handicap, helping shape your handicap, and besides what we previously discussed?
Well, that's interesting. And, Jimmy, I work on so many different sports. Sometimes I forget what day it is because I'm I'm just finishing up my NHL stuff, and we got 2 big games over in Prague, Buffalo and New Jersey Devils. I don't know if they're 2 big games. We have 2 NHL games in Prague. I'll give you, your listeners. They play on an international ice. The ice is wider, 13 feet wider in international rinks, and the wider the ice, the less the scoring is in those games. Buffalo and New Jersey both brought in more defensive players this year than they did offensive players. So both teams really focusing on the defensive end. The larger ice looks like I'm going to have 2 underplays. They play back-to-back the same teams on Thursday and Friday, and those games start very early. I believe noon for you tomorrow and 10 a.m. maybe or 9 a.m. on Friday.
All right, Kenny White with us each and every Thursday, 12:30, with his top 3 college picks and his best NFL pick. Kenny, good luck, man. We'll talk to you next week.
Thanks, Jimmy. You too. Have a great weekend.
Don't forget our friends at Total Maintenance. We are one of South Louisiana's oldest and largest air conditioning and heating companies. That's right. And we got a great deal that's going on. Mention Jimmy Ott, mention my name, and half off of diagnostics, including after hours, holidays, or weekends. One-time heater or AC visit. Normally $179. Mention my name. It's just $79. Drop the 1. It'll save you $100 on a one-time heating or AC visit. Great thing is also at Total Maintenance, we have membership programs that cover all of the services with discounts and extended warranties. So we'll notify you when it's time to get that heating, that cleaning check, that service check. Make sure everything's going fine. Clean it. That way it's more efficient, which lends itself to lower monthly bills, but also extends the lifetime of your warranty. Nobody likes to replace those. But you strain it, it's not going to last that long. We got offices in both New Orleans and Baton Rouge, but they're not compromised in any way. New Orleans, we got a completely different office, completely different staff there. Same thing in Baton Rouge. Our number in Baton Rouge, 480-1000, 480-1000. Total Maintenance. We are Total Maintenance.
Live at the original Walk-Ons, live at lunch, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Live at lunch.
The Thibodaux store, 900 St. Patrick Highway in Thibodaux. All your home improvement supplies are there. Whether you're doing it yourself or with a contractor, let them take care of your supplies. You're going to get a great price. You're going to get delivery if you go through the website at ThibodauxStore.com. Plus, you're going to have a selection, whether it's hand tools or power tools, whether you're doing some painting, laying some concrete, carpentry supplies, plumbing supplies, electrical supplies. They'll handle it for you at the Thibodaux store. Lots of great other items, a huge selection of grills, including the Big Green Egg cookers, lots of fishing gear available there, crawfish pots, jambalaya pots, and unique cypress furniture, all located at 900 St. Patrick Highway in Thibodaux. And online, the Thibodaux store, in line with the Pierreport store. They've been around since the early 1900s, and all of your lumber supplies can be delivered there from the Pierreport store as well. Thibodaux store and ThibodauxStore.com.
Live at lunch with Ott and Hanny from the original Walk-Ons on Burbank on 104.5 ESPN, Baton Rouge.
Browns got Nick Chubb back at practices, and he feels good. They got 3 weeks to activate him. He's unlikely to play against Washington this Sunday, but could be back shortly thereafter. Tonight, Bucks and the Falcons. Come by Walk-Ons here. Watch Thursday Night Football. We like the Bucks.
I like the Bucks.
Like the Bucks minus 1.5 tonight. 2 NFC South.
No, plus.
What else did I say? Minus?
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Bucks plus 1.5 tonight in Atlanta, and pair of NFC South division opponents of the Saints. That is tonight. College card, nothing overwhelming. Texas State, Troy, Sam Houston, and UTEP. But Kenny gave us a pick on UTEP, so
that's right.
We can play along there. He likes the Miners plus the 10.5. That is the second game. It's on CBS Sports tomorrow. We will start at 10 a.m. Lock of the Week Friday, presented by Tex Morris at Edward Jones Investments from Rafino's. Hole LeMayo makes his return to Baton Rouge with us tomorrow morning to get this show kicked off. So we hope you can make it in your plans to be with us. For Jimmy Jordan back in the studio, I'm Charles Hanniger saying thank you and good afternoon. Stay tuned for Hunt Palmer on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.